good, fam? What it is, what it is. Let's talk about elite. Let's talk about eliteness, y'all. Elite, kind of like you got cars, right? Let's say you got elite cars. You got Rolls Royce, Bentley, and then you have mid-tier cars, Toyota, Honda, and then you have what you call bottom of the barrel cars. And in my opinion, you got Dodge, Buick, Kia, Hyundai, them kind of cars. And then you got the elite cars that's considered the creme de la creme, the top of the line. Okay, same with like clothes. You got your mid-tier brands like that's Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger. You got your low-end brands like Old Navy and Gap. Then you got your elite brands, Louis Vuitton and Gucci and Chanel, Balmain, and you get where I'm going with it. It's considered top of the line. And boxing, you got elite too. And at 135, you have somebody considered the most elite at 135, Gervonta Tank Davis. And the strange thing is, Devin Haney was also at 135, and I will be bringing him up in this video too as well. But Devin has since left that division. But the reason why I'm bringing Devin up is because whenever you hear Tank come up, the names that's always associated with Tank Davis is Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, because these three were supposed to mix it up with each other. They have yet to fight each other. None of them have fought each other yet. They have all sparred each other. Tank has sparred Devin. Tank has sparred Shakur. Shakur has sparred Tank. Shakur has sparred Devin. That is why they have history, okay? But they have never fought a pro fight yet with each other. And when you bring up Tank Davis, right, a lot of his fans, you say, well, in particular, recently, Tank made a fight with Lamont Roach, who's a 130-pounder, okay? And he's a guy that Tank is not familiar with pulling up in weight. He's also similarly pulled up Hector Garcia and Leo Santa Cruz. So Tank is no stranger to pulling dudes up in weight to fight them. So we are at this stage again, another pull-up fight with Lamont Roach, okay? And this ain't taking nothing away from Lamont Roach. But every time you say something that, you don't like, okay, you don't agree with this fight, the Tank bots, they'll attack you and say, well, look, Tank is elite. When you say, look, Tank should be fighting Shakur, Tank should be fighting Devin, who have they fought? Tank is elite. That's what you'll get from some of these dudes, right? So then that forces you to take a step back and be like, okay, I'll take that. And then you start to look and say, well, damn, let me look at Shakur's resume. Let me look at Tank. Let me look at Devin. So that means they don't think that Shakur or Devin is elite. They believe Tank is. So my question is, what makes Gervonta Davis an elite fighter, man? The definition of elite, it means, a select group that is superior in terms of ability or qualities to the rest of a group or society, okay? And that will pertain to the 135-pound division. Like I said, I'll loosely still put Devin Haney in that because of the reasons I just mentioned. But it fits this well. Tank is considered at the top of the food chain at 135. He is the cash guy. And I'll be real with y'all. And the only reason why Tank is popular is because of Floyd Mayweather. We know this. Most boxers that get under Floyd Mayweather and he pushes them, it rubs off on them and they become just as popular. And I honestly don't think if it wasn't for Floyd, I don't think Tank would be as popular as he is, to be honest. He is known because of Floyd Mayweather. Whether y'all understand that or like that or not, that's a fact. So what makes Tank Davis elite over Shakur and Devin Haney though? Okay, is it his star power? Is it his money? Or is it his resume? You know, a lot of the fanboys, they'll look at Tank as being elite because of his pay-per-view sales. They look at that as being elite. You can kind of look at it that way in a certain sense, but real boxing heads don't look at that as elite. We look at resumes as being elite, man. And whenever you bring up Devin should be fighting Tank or Shakur should fight Tank, they always do that. They jump to, no, man, Tank is elite. Or what does Tank mean elite have to do with him fighting Shakur and Devin? Has every one of Tank's fights been elite? Interesting to say, huh? Well, let's see what can it be that makes Tank elite on his resume level. You would say he's an elite fighter, meaning his skill set, cool. But who has he employed that skill set against that would make him elite? This is what I'm saying. This is a pretty valid question. All right. Now we're gonna just, it ain't gonna be too long. We're gonna skim through all three of their resumes. It's not gonna take long because, it's real obvious. And I'm gonna show you how obvious this is. Okay, now I'm not saying that Tank ain't elite. Okay, but my thing is, if you're gonna say Tank is elite, why can't you say Devin and Shakur is also elite? And let me explain what I mean. Okay. Now, when you take a look at Tank Davis' resume, Tank started fighting in February 2013. Okay, that was his first pro fight was in 2013. Okay, now, early on in the fighter's career, they're not going to fight the top of the top. That's just not the way it is. You got to build them up and give them somebody, build their credit, build their resume, and, build their confidence and their skill set, test their skill set out. We understand all of that. So I would say from his first fight is some guy named Desi Williams. Okay, that dude was 0-4. Okay, and all the way up through the years, I would say from Desi Williams all the way up to Jose Pedraza. Everybody under Pedraza that Tank fought is pretty much what many boxing people would say nobodies. Okay, from 2013 to 2016. Okay, and at the very beginning of 2017, that is when I would say Gervonta Davis' career changed. Okay, so for 3 years, this is 3 years now, he's been fighting what we would call nobodies. Okay, he fought Jose Pedraza. Okay, he fought Jose Pedraza in 2017 to be exact, and he knocked him out in the 7th round. This was at 100 and I believe it was at 130 pounds. And Tank became the IBF world super featherweight champion. Okay, that was in the Barclays Center. I remember that. That was Tank's first real name, man, in my opinion. Okay, so he knocked him out in the 7th round and became a real champion down at 130, right? And I would say after that, he's fought. Who else can you really say was there to make him elite, to really push Tank, man? Barrios? He wasn't even a real belt holder. Gamboa? Over the hill Gamboa? Who was it? Who else? I wouldn't say none of these other. Fonseca, none of these dudes. None of them. Hugo Ruiz, none of those guys. So you get up to Leo Santa Cruz, which was another pretty good name. He was a champion in his division. But he was small, okay? So you're testing your elite skills against a smaller dude in the Leo Santa Cruz? And you saw how that ended. Mario Barrios, okay, you can argue the fact that he pushed himself to try to test himself at another weight class. And to me, he did knock out Barrios, but to me, it struggled. He knocked him out in the 11th round. I think his power doesn't really transition up to 140 the way it does at 135. Isak Cruz, when he fought Isak Cruz, Cruz only had one loss. Nobody really knew who Isak Cruz was. He was just barely getting his name known. But pretty decent one-dimensional fighter. Now, there's no comparing a Tank to an Isak. Their skill sets are just far and beyond. Okay, you knew who was going to win that fight, especially with Isak Cruz being one-dimensional. You knew that was an easy fight. Tank messed his hand up, and I think if he didn't, I'm not sure if he would have stopped Isak Cruz, but that's highly possible. But I know for a fact he would have outboxed him. If he only outboxed him with one hand, he definitely would have outboxed him with two hands. And then Rolly Romero. Let's not even talk about him. What did he bring to the table? Was he an elite fighter? Was Rolly an elite fighter? Let's just pass Rolly. Hector Garcia, smaller dude, pulled him up in weight, knocked him out. Ryan Garcia, that wasn't an elite level fight either. Ryan Garcia has done nothing in the sport. He's just a YouTube, a social media boxer, man. He's famous from social media. Okay, and he never owned any belts, real belts. He done nothing real for the sport. Okay, but he's popular because social media made him popular. So, and Ryan Garcia is not an elite fighter, in my opinion, period. Frank Martin started boxing late. He's not an elite fighter either. Put up a good showing against Tank, but we know how that was going to end. Ryan Garcia, same thing, very one-dimensional. Okay, and that is it. So you show me on that resume where Tank really pushed himself. Anybody was there to push Tank to make him an elite fighter, bro. All these dudes that Tank fought in the past 4 years, everybody, one of his fans, you know what they always say? Tank gonna whip him. Okay, well, if you know this, then if you know how the outcome gonna be for every one of your guys' fights, how does that make him elite? If he's taking on fights, you already know that he's gonna already beat the prefabricated fights. Come on. So let's talk about Shakur Stevenson, man. Let me just dive into him real quick, okay? Because I see it all the time. People say Shakur's not elite. Okay, now Shakur Stevenson, he's been fighting, and since 2017. Since 2017, he started. April 2017, Shakur's first bout against a guy named Edgar Brito. 3 wins, 2 losses. His record was a little better than Tank's record. It's crazy. They actually started Tank out with a guy with 0 wins and 4 losses. That's crazy. But anyway, Shakur, same thing with him, man. Okay, he'd argue the fact. None of these dudes in his career early on was really big names, okay? Which is understandable. I'd say when Shakur got to maybe Joet Gonzalez, you can argue that. That's when he started fighting a name, kind of. That was in 2019. So Shakur Stevenson, for about 2 years straight, he been fighting nobodies. Joet is a stretch though. I would have to push it all the way up to maybe Jamel Herring. Okay, so that's 2021. I don't consider Jeremiah Nakatia a name, Toka Khan Clary, or Felix Caraballo. Okay, so you can argue the Joet Gonzalez thing. He washed him, beat him up for 12 rounds, but I would have to say officially Jamel Herring is Shakur Stevenson's first real name, and that was in 2021. Then Oscar Valdez, good scrap. That's a good name. And Robson Kaseyshao. Then Yoshino was his introduction to 135. Edwin De Los Santos, pretty good name at 135. And then Haratunian, okay, which is really a nobody either. All right, so same thing. If you're going to say that Tank is elite, then you might as well call Shakur elite, because Shakur hardly fought any big names, and neither has Tank Davis. But there's a difference. The difference is with Shakur actually fought for his belts, bro. He fought for his real belts. He's fought for his belts. And Tank did too, but Shakur has more titles that he's held more that he actually fought motherfuckers for. Okay? So, if you want to talk about that, if you want to put it in that aspect, in that perspective, Shakur is more of an elite fighter than Tank Davis is, okay? Now, let's talk about Devin Haney, man. Let's go to him real quick. Let's go to Devin the Dream Haney. All right. Now, Devin Haney, he started fighting back in 2015, okay? So Tank's been fighting longer than all of them. Then Devin and then Shakur, okay? So Devin Haney's first fight was in December of 2015. First pro bout, he got a knockout of a guy named Gonzalo Rodriguez. 1 win, 1 loss, okay? Still better than Tank's first fight. Both of them. Both Shakur and Devin's first fights were better than Tank's first fight. 0-4, y'all. Come on. So from 2015, I would say all the way up to maybe I want to say Juan Burgos. Nah, I would say Antonio Moran. Starting there. That was when, Devin really started getting the real names. So that was a whole 4 years of fighting almost nobodies, okay? And so you got Moran. I don't count Gamboa. Jorge Linares, okay? Somebody even say Linares was his first big name fighter. Vet, Jorge Linares, okay? So, but I'll give him Antonio Moran. Let's keep it with Moran, okay? From 19 is when Devin started getting names on his resume, okay? So Moran, maybe Jorge Linares, Joseph Diaz, Cambosos was a champion, so you got to give him respect for that. Loma, Regis Prograis, okay? And then the Ryan Garcia fight. All right, so I'd say Devin is elite because he's fought for his belts as well, and he was undisputed. So how can you say Devin is not elite, but Tank is? Tank has never been undisputed. Both Shakur and Devin has held more belts than Tank Davis, but Tank somehow is elite. Okay, and they ain't. And like I said, right here, you can argue the fact that all three of them haven't fought any big names at all for most of, for the first 3 to 4 years of their careers. But if you want to argue the fact, I say Devin Haney, his resume is better than both Tank and Shakur's resume. So you got to put some respect on Dev, bro, whether you like him or not. And if you're going to call Tank elite, fine. But here's the thing. You got to also mention Devin and Shakur and them saying that same category. And that's the reason why everybody says we want to see Tank fight Shakur and Devin. Don't use that lie or that cop-out to say that, well, Tank is elite. He ain't got to fight Devin and Shakur. That makes absolutely no sense. Especially Shakur being in his division. Shakur has a belt. So if he don't fight for the belt, how would that make Tank even more of elite if he don't go after that belt that Shakur got? See, these Tank bots, their idea of elite is pay-per-view sales. So he's a pretty much an elite prize fighter. Why don't y'all just come out and just say that? Don't call him elite. Say he's an elite prize fighter. He's not an elite legacy fighter because that's not what he's about, clearly. Okay, so in other words, to sum it up, is Gervonta Tank Davis an elite fighter? In certain aspects, yes, he is. In others, no, he is not. Is Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson elite? Yes, they are. Not in the Shakur is not an elite fighter in the pay-per-view arena as far as an aspect. Devin is he sells. So Devin is more of out of all three, I would say he's more of an elite all-around fighter than Tank and Shakur. in my opinion. Skill set wise, they're all elite in their own ways. Shakur is elite in his own way, in his skill set. Tank is elite in his own way, skill set. Devin is elite in his own way and skill set. But overall, in my humble opinion, I think both Shakur and Devin are more elite than Tank Davis is, and I think Devin is more elite than all of them. And Tank, I think, is behind both of those two, Shakur and Dev. Just my opinion. Let me know what y'all think, man. This is Rebel Like Boxing. Catch y'all on the next one, and I'm off this.